All right, we are live. Games Talk Live, episode, man, I can't even remember now. Maybe 22, I think. I believe it's 22. Anyways, you got a great show, no matter what the number is. I've got two amazing guests here today. First off, I have my good friend here, Ramon Tyrell. You guys have seen him here on the show before. And, of course, he's an actor. He's been in movies. He's been in various TV shows like Supernatural, Arrow, most recently The Mighty Ducks on Disney+. If you might have seen it, you might have seen Ramon here, of course. And he's an author. He's written quite a few books. What's up, Ramon?
Hey, what's going on, man? It's great to be on the show again. Thanks for having me.
Yeah. And, of course, your new book is out, Ramon. And this one here, it's The Saga of Ruination Emergence. This is the second book in the series. Of course, I have the first as well. And this one is, of course, Unleashed. And I've read Unleashed. I am in the middle of Emergence. And it's such a good book, my friend. So how's that been? How's it feel to have a second book out in this series?
Well, thanks. I'm glad you're enjoying it. And it was a long road getting to that second book because when I had written Unleashed, then a publisher had picked up the rights to pretty much all, like, two of my series after I'd written Unleashed. So I was in the middle of rewrites for the publisher. And then long story short, I ended up getting the rights back to my original works. And then I had to finish those rewrites to republish all those books. And 5 years later, I finally get Emergence finished.
Yeah.
And that's a long time for a sequel for me. So I'm excited to finally have that one out. And then I can start actually releasing books at a steady clip again. So that book, I'm really happy about it. I feel really happy about it.
I'm lucky because I got to read Unleashed just last year. So your book came out just the year following, and it's amazing timing for me because I really liked the book. So being able to read it like this, I was like, wow, did he write it that fast? No, and then I found out that it's been out for some years. But it's fabulous, man. I love the characters in the book. Your world building, your character building, it's just excellent, man. Really, really dig it.
Thanks.
And, of course, we've got my second...
Cool.
Yeah.
Congratulations, Ron. That's really cool. I'm going to try to read that.
Yeah, it's really good. If you're into fantasy, it's really good.
I like that stuff.
Yeah, it's really good stuff. Okay. And of course, you just heard the man, Patrick Gallagher is here. He's been in plenty of stuff. Night at the Museum, even Glee 13 years ago, which my wife remembered. So much stuff you've been in. And of course, Mr. Khotun Khan himself of Ghost of Tsushima. How are you doing, my friend, besides,
I'm good. I'm a little injured. Sorry to see this, folks. I had a bit of a rotator cuff injury. Just ride my bike a while ago, so I just got the surgery. Oh, ow. Oh,
uh-oh. Careful.
So I'm just icing stuff, and other than that, I'm doing all right.
Yeah,
so
I bet.
For CBS right here.
Uh-oh. CBS.
Oh, shit.
Wait, aren't you on an ABC show, Big Sky?
Yeah. CBS.
Shout out to CBS, too.
CVS right there.
Oh, CVS, not CBS. Okay.
CVS.
CVS. All right.
Should I go landscape? Am I in the wrong format here? This is not my forte.
Hey, you can do as you please. If you want to go landscape, if it doesn't hurt your shoulder, that's quite all right.
I don't want the kids to come after me for my lack of social media prowess.
Yeah, you know how they are.
How's that? There we go.
There we go.
That's
perfect. Perfect. Yeah, we got a lot of great people in the chat right now, and I'm going to throw down a banner down below for all my super chat. Not super chat, but my supporters on my show here and my channel for YouTube. Great to see you all here today. It's amazing. I got Colt Eastwood in the house, of course. What's up? General C, Eternal Umbra. So many good people out there. Jordy from Xbox Era. Thank you guys for being here today. Honestly, Patrick, I want to go to you and ask you some questions about how did you fall into getting into voice acting? What was
I came pretty late to it, actually. I've been lucky to be working for a while, and I had an agent in Toronto who I guess the industry started doing it 5-6 years ago. I'd gone for a couple early on and hadn't really gotten much. My first one was actually just motion capture on the first Last of Us.
Oh, really?
The first Last of Us, which I didn't really enjoy that much because, you don't get to talk or anything. And, if you have to be in that skin tight suit, but it got me healthcare and it got me to figure out what was going on in that, which I think paid dividends years later. Ended up getting an Ubisoft game Which one was it? Jesus. Breakpoint.
Ghost Recon
Ghost
Breakpoint.
Recon,
Yeah.
where I played a Mad Schultz where I didn't look anything like me at all, and that was a great experience too. Because I don't know if Ramon, you've done them. It's not really radio. It's not really voice acting. It's not really acting. It's kind of
In between.
something in between, and
Yeah.
you know that those things sort of get me prepared for it. And then I saw the audition for Khotun Khan, and part of me was like, you know, I'm perfect for this, so I just went in and did the audition.
Oh, man.
Yeah, it
You know,
is.
I
showed.
think I did 8 days. I think I did 8 days over 3 years or something. It takes a long time to do those games.
Really?
So,
Wow.
yeah.
Yeah, I showed at the beginning, during the intro. Of course, you played Attila the Hun in Night at the Museum back in the day, and a lot of people recognize you from that role. How was it working with so many big stars in that movie?
I mean, Jesus, I was starstruck. I mean, that first one was 2006. I was 38. I hadn't really done much. I was scared out of my mind. Then you get all these great stars. And,
I mean,
you know,
everything from like Mickey Rooney to Robin Williams.
Ben Stiller. And, the great thing is they were all really welcoming, and you realize that they were just working. You know, it was all just about doing the work. And I went, okay, I just got to come in here and work.
Yeah.
Robin Williams was really supportive. I was really scared. And I wasn't originally making the language up in the audition. I just had to start doing that eventually. And I think he could sense, I know he did this on purpose, but I think I did a scene and he could sense that I was a little scared. He just walked by and said, that was funny. Knowing that I would go, okay, if Robin Williams thinks that's funny, I must be doing okay. And I honestly think he just knew that that's what I needed. So, but yeah, it was great.
So you got a chance to like meet Robin and everything on the set.
Yeah, we just made that roll up as we went along. I mean, most of that isn't in the script. You know,
so you ad-libbed a lot there. Yeah,
ad-libbed almost everything. The whole magic scene was just, we're gonna do the magic scene down with Ben. I'm like, okay, I'm not sure what. You'll figure it out. So
I thought it was really fun movie, and my kids loved it as well. Yeah, and growing up, I was always a big fan of like Robin Williams and everything. So I was like, wow, you worked with so many great people.
Yeah, I've been fortunate. Alexander Payne and Peter Weir. I learned a lot. From them. I've been really fortunate. So.
Yeah, USO Vinny said, "Thanks for coming, Mr. Gallagher. Your first line with Lord Shimura hooked me into Ghost of Tsushima. Sorry, I was thinking of Game of Thrones for some reason. GOT.
Well, tell him thank you, but please call me Patrick. Mr. Gallagher makes me feel old.
Yeah, he's listening.
So thank you.
Yeah, a lot of people are just loving that you're here. Punkadish says, much love, Fonz. Keep it up, bro. Thank you very much. Yeah, Patrick, it's great. I'm kind of starstruck with you being here, to be honest, because Khotun Khan is literally one of my favorite villains in any video game now. I've been playing video games since 1982. I'm 46 years old, still play them. I don't know if you still play video games, Patrick, do you?
I haven't since PlayStation 1, so that's when it went beyond me. I've never played the game. I've seen people play it. Yeah, I'd be dead in a heartbeat. I wouldn't. I'd probably lose to myself on the beach.
So Sony didn't even send you like a PlayStation and a copy of the game?
I kept asking. I don't have a PlayStation. They did send me the game, but I kept saying I don't have a PlayStation to play it on. So we're not even. Let's not even talk about the race for video games. We'll talk about that later.
Yeah.
It's they make a lot of money, and they don't pay the actors a lot of it. But it's still fun. But yeah, no, it was great. The great thing about that is we had great writing, great collaboration with Nate Fox and Billy, who were director and the creative director, and you get good. Ramon knows this. If you get good writing, it makes life really easy, and then then we could collaborate. They go with my ideas,
and you can play.
You can play, and I know that scene that became the trailer was just they saw me do the scene and said that's going to be the trailer. And I had very specific ideas about him that they let me go with. I didn't want to play the classic, evil, manic, berserking, because I think, he had a job to do. He seriously was serious about all that shit. Just say you join me and this is all done. He just wanted to get it done. He would kill if he had to, but my whole focus was focused on getting the job done, which is to take over this island.
Well, I want to show people a clip of the game here. Show them a little bit of your work here.
am Jin Sakai, nephew of Lord Shimura. I have come to avenge his honor.
Jin, your uncle has told me much about you, Jin Sakai. I will show him his nephew, broken and humiliated, begging to join the Mongol Empire. Jin! This is your time, Lord Sakai.
How does that feel, seeing yourself in a video game like that, immortalized as Khotun Khan here?
It's kind of cool. I mean, it's such a beautiful game, and they
It really
did
is.
such a beautiful job with it. It's funny, if you do notice, because of it over 3 years, I lost about 25 pounds over the course of the game, and the game does come in order. So you can see we had to put these, I think these masks made where they put because there's a lot of dots when they use your face. There's less dots when they put somebody else's, but when they use your actual face, there were dots everywhere. So they got these masks for us, and then drilled the holes in. And I did my stuff in 2017 and came back a year later, and I'd lost 25 pounds. They were like, you can't lose any more weight because this mask won't work anymore because my face wasn't touching it. Yeah, it was great. I mean, you know, it's the hardest thing about that is Ramon knows this too. We're in skin tight suits, you know, and people ask me, what did I use with Attila? Because there are very different characters to bring to that. What I remember is that was a 40-pound costume of yak fur and leather. And that's how I got the physicality in the walk, was to remember what it was like to walk in that Attila costume, because you're just basically wearing a scuba suit. And so that's the way I combined Attila and Khotun, because they're very different characters. So, but I'm very proud to be part of the game. It's an amazing game.
Of course.
Yeah,
and I know you get inside, like when you do the voice acting and stuff, is it just primarily you in a booth saying your lines, that sort of thing?
That was us. That was us moving. This is what.
Oh, really?
There's a difference between voice. Yeah, I don't think people realize this. There's a difference between motion capture, voice acting, and performance capture.
Yep.
Okay.
So, motion capture, you've got people in skin tight suits with little dots on, and they capture your body movements. When you do just voice, there's time when you're just in the booth and you're speaking, and they'll put the computer character over you. That's a lot of the stuff we did in the fight. But everything you saw there was me and Daisuke and Eric. We were literally in our skin tight suits walking in an empty stage, imagining that, you know, which is why performance capture is so complicated and a little bit difficult to get used to, because it's a little bit like a radio play. It is about your physicality, it's about your voice, but it's also about your face, but there's nothing around you. So it's all green screen. So everything you see with everybody in that, where we're actually talking to each other standing up, was us talking to each other, standing with each other with these huge like cameras right in front of your face. So when you drink, you've got to drink like this.
Okay.
And then they'll make it look like it's close to your face. But yeah, I think people get them as number. That was us. So that physicality, that's what I mean about remembering how I walked. I had to walk in a skin tight suit, trying to feel like I had 40 pounds of armor on.
Yeah. And what do you prefer doing? Do you like the booth or do you like the performance? And
Well, nobody should have to see me in a skin tight suit, including me. But there's a certain amount of creativity there that I prefer. It feels more like what I'm familiar with. I like both of them, but I actually, to do just the movements and stuff without being able to do any acting, I don't enjoy that much, like just the motion capture. But performance capture, there's a lot of, especially when you're on a show, you know, a game like that where there's a lot of collaboration, I find that really fun.
yeah.
It's just, you know, that skin tight suit is like, you know, I've lost like 45 pounds, but still, nobody should have to see it.
Ramon, are you excited to do that sort of stuff, you know, in the future? Voice acting, doing that?
Pretty much exactly what Patrick said. Like, you know, the motion capture is cool. I mean, you know, I can enjoy it enough, but the performance capture is the same thing. I haven't done performance capture yet, but the closest I've gotten to anything like this was there was an instructor in a class that I took. She was she invited me to help out with a student project. And so then I did motion capture for them, and I got to see, kind of how it all works, and the skin tight suit with the dots and everything. And it wasn't even as advanced then as it is now. This was like probably like 8 years ago.
Wow.
Maybe 9 years ago. And it was fun, but performance capture is pretty much the same as film acting, except you don't have a set. You just have 4 walls, all green, and you might have a few props. Like if you're climbing up something, they'll have like something like a jungle gym style thing with bars, and you're pretending to climb, but you're literally visualizing everything. So like
It's a lot of imagination, I suppose.
A lot.
It's a lot. Yeah.
And what makes a difference is, like I said, it really is about our voice and our movement. So it's not exactly like it, which is why it can be complicated to do it first, because you can't get as intimate as you can when you're doing straight up film acting, because there's also, Ramon's right, there's nothing there. So it took me a little while to figure it out. And like I said, if any actors ever do it, I look at it like doing a stand-up radio play. I mean, you are moving through the space, but it's all on a green screen. Your body and your voice are what your voice really is what you got hired for in a lot of ways. And it also depends on whether they're using your face or a character's face, because then it's all just in the eyes, and then it's more voice. Then it's more, to me, voice modulation if I'm not going to be using my real face. Mad Schultz was I looked like a 60-year-old, long-haired cowboy. And so that became more about the voice than it even did with Khotun, because Khotun was my real face. So I could, in a sense, just act normally. So that's the kind of stuff that I looked at and went, okay, this is where it's an interesting kind of way of working.
Yeah.
I gotta say one thing. It's a testament to the performance. Stroke your ego a little bit here. It's a testament to the performance when you see your friend on a video game. You're like, oh my, holy crap. Like, and then it's like, this is cool as hell. And then I kid you not, like the second time you showed up in the game again, it was like, it wasn't you anymore. You know what I mean? It was like, it was no longer you. It was Khotun Khan. And it was just like, the coolness factor of that. And then for me, it was because we're friends, it became, even though I enjoyed the game immensely, it also became like kind of like a little masterclass for me, because I'm like taking notes and I'm just looking at all this.
Oh, thanks, man. I appreciate that.
Yeah,
but you enjoyed killing me, though, didn't you? You must have enjoyed killing me.
Oh, dude, I did. Oh, I did. And that's the thing.
It was a pain in the ass dealing with you and then everybody else.
Slipped. There's no way you could kick his ass. I slipped.
I was going to say something similar. They say that you can tell a good actor, when they're playing a villain, and you end up hating that character so much, like that you feel like that what you are embodying at the time is just the most despicable person ever, and you just can't wait to just off him. And that's the way I felt in the game as you as Khotun. It was just like I couldn't wait to just rip your head off or just destroy you, because you were just like so just downright despicable. I couldn't stand your character, and it was amazing. Like I love when villains portray that and get people's emotions wrapped up into a video game like that.
Thank you. It was fun. Unfortunately, I hear words of a sequel, but I guess I'm dead. Yeah. But I did say he could have a cousin. I have lost 40 pounds. I can make my voice different.
Or maybe they can give him PTSD and have flashbacks.
I'll be Mongo that talks like this. I'm gonna kick your ass.
Exactly. Yeah, you could do it. And that's another thing too. You're a very funny guy. You've played so many different roles, Patrick, that were like, of course, again, going back to Coach Tanaka, very different from, say, Khotun or from what you play on Big Sky currently. Very different characters, and you're so well versed in everything. Nice. You can change up, the way you're acting, and that's just it's amazing to me. But also, like with these video games, though, do you find yourself like, well, let me just ask you: is Khotun your favorite
of
the video game acting?
Oh, yeah, he's one of my favorites.
Khotun's your favorite?
I've done a lot of just straight up voice stuff too that I can't really remember.
Yeah, you've done stuff for like Red Dead Redemption too.
Yeah, and, where you're just yelling out like, "Get down!"
Yeah.
This is the control. We need you to move that right now. Yeah, I've
That's
done
the
hours
stage
and
that
hours.
I'm at right now.
Yeah,
in my
yeah.
life.
But yeah, of all the video game stuff, Khotun for sure, and just as a regular job of any kind. I'm also, by the way, I didn't about video games. I'm also, I think I can say this. Yeah, what the hell? I think I'm going to be on Guild Wars 2.
Oh, really?
So I did a couple of things of that. I can't remember. I played so many characters, I can't remember who they are, but I am going to be coming back on that. But yeah, Khotun was really, really fun. I was just amazed at how long it takes to do those things, because we started in March of 2017. And that thing came out, July of 2020? And I would literally have a year off and then come in for 4 days. Now, that was just me. They were all, I think a lot of them, Dice K was working a lot more than I was.
Yeah.
Eric was, I think I had 7 or 8 motion capture sessions and 4 voice sessions. And the great thing about it too is you can do it anywhere. I was just at a Guild Wars in Albuquerque, and that's the one nice thing about voice work is you can just go anywhere where there's a studio and do it. But yeah, Khotun is one of my favorite parts ever. I know they're doing a movie and I understand how the business works. I'd like to be able to do it, but probably won't because I get the business. But it will always. I'm very proud of Khotun. It'll always just sort of live.
Should be.
In that world. So
you are Khotun, man. They should be putting you in that movie because you are Khotun. Eternal Umbra here says, Fonz, my dude, getting the great and fearsome Khotun Khan himself, Patrick, here along with the good brother and author Ramon. Keep up the great work, brother. Yes, I'm so humbled to have 2 fantastic guests today. And you can listen to this, of course, after the fact on any streaming platform out there, whether it be Apple Podcasts, Google Casts, any of those. Go ahead and you can listen after the fact there or watch it here after the fact on YouTube. That'd be great too. But yeah, great guests. Patrick, so what's next for you? Are you still just doing Big Sky?
I'm convalescing in case people want to see it. That's my fancy sling from rotator cuff surgery. So I've got to have on for another 3 weeks.
Oh, and of course, you mentioned Guild Wars too.
I've been able to do, Big Sky. And there's another show. I got really lucky, actually, because Big Sky is written by an author named CJ Box. And I got really lucky to get that job in the height of COVID in Vancouver. And just as that was ending, there's another series that CJ Box had written, a different set of books called Joe Pickett. And I put an audition out for that. And literally just as Big Sky was ending, they called me about doing Joe Pickett in Calgary. So I was gone for a year. Nice. So Joe Pickett, I play another sheriff, which is ironic. I don't know when I became
play a lot of sheriffs.
I became small town American sheriff for some reason, which I'll take. So that comes out on Paramount, on Spectrum in late November. And then, I'm in Big Sky for, I'm not sure how many. I think 4 so far and hopefully more. I'm really enjoying it. I really like doing that show. So
nice. And
then Guild Wars and there's an animation thing that's coming out. I think I can say all this. I mean, they didn't tell me I could. I think it's called Blue Eye Samurai. So that's on Netflix. So I've been really, really, really fortunate. I know that COVID was tough for everybody, but especially for our industry and so many friends of mine. I feel really honored and lucky to have worked. Because I was planning on not working for a year. And things just came out of nowhere. So.
I was doing some research on you before the show, of course, and I was looking at your huge, portfolio. You've done a lot.
I thought you were going to say something else because I'm going. That picture was supposed to not be out.
But. And see, here's the thing: you're a funny guy. I noticed it said that you were a stand-up comic as well.
Well, I dabbled with it.
You dabbled with it. Really?
Yeah. I did it because it scared the crap out of me. I got a few laughs.
Yeah. I did not know that. Because. It seems like it'd be scary. Ramon, you ever do any stand-up comedy?
Oh, no.
You should do it, man. I did it because it's scary as hell. And I got to tell you, I've never been so scared in my life. And then somebody laughed, and I'll never forget going. I literally went, wow, that's really fucking... Can I swear? Should have said that.
Yeah, you could go ahead. Yeah,
that's really fucking cool, man. And I got kind of addicted to it. And then you have shows where nobody laughs, and that's just as cool because it's really weird feeling when everybody hates you. But boy, do you ever feel alive. So I'm just trying to fix this thing with one arm. Sorry,
Mr. Khotun.
You should do it. You should do it, Ramon.
Well,
I'll come see it.
I feel like I can be funny bouncing off of someone, but like I don't know if I can stand on a stage and come up with come up with something versus just kind of like I'm good with improv. I can do improv. But stage, like I don't have a problem with the stage. I don't have stage fright or anything, but I don't know if I could be funny on command on a stage though.
That's why you do it. That's why I did it, because I thought the same thing, it's just you sort of realize there's things I want to talk about that I just find kind of ridiculous.
Yeah.
Like
That makes sense.
why do they call it? Why did they say I caught a cold? Because I was never fucking chasing it.
There you go.
I mean, cold caught me. Aren't we always technically under the weather? Just saying.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
As long as we have to have no smoking signs, and when you're getting gas, don't expect me not to be cynical. I literally saw a hot tub that had those little figures, a hot tub where they said no diving. I'm like, if we need to put that, we
Yeah,
have
the
no,
hot
we
tub.
are doomed.
Got to be
We are
freaking
doomed if you need to put a little thing on saying, by the way, don't dive into this hot tub. So
Yeah.
Someone did it. That's the thing. Someone
Yeah.
actually
that's
did it.
that's what's scary.
Someone was like, dude, like I got this beer, like hold my beer, man. I'm gonna show you something really
I
cool.
know.
And they dove in head first, and they cracked their spine, and then now they're suing the hot tub maker because there was no sign that said you can't dive in it. Someone did it.
And then people expect me to have hope in humanity. No, no, because that's just damn common sense. Don't smoke around gasoline and don't dive into a hot tub.
Smitty Smith says, salute J Fonz panel and chat. Thank you for the time and effort. Always top notch. And Risk It for the Biscuit has a question, Patrick. He said, in preparation for the role, how many people did you throw off the bridge, and were you ever caught? What's up, Fonz? 343 for the win.
I'm going to take the fifth on that.
Yeah, he's taking the fifth on that, sir.
You know what's ironically, I do live literally across the street from a bridge. So,
And Hargeet Shani says, is the video game acting work more intense or less than movies and TV? Which do you prefer? I think you hinted at pay. And we're going to get into this too. Yeah. So is there a difference there? What's more intense for you? And what do you like less?
I'm not
Movies,
sure what they
TV?
mean by intense. I like them all. I mean, I'm just one of those people who just likes anything to do with acting.
Yeah.
They're different. They're different amounts of work. They're different mindsets. You don't have all the sort of trappings that, let's be honest, Ramon, we love all the trappings of a set, which is the food and the trailer, and people are getting you stuff, and you're more just part of a team. Yeah, you're part of a cog.
Yeah.
You're a cog in the wheel in a video game. It's different. It really is different. Yeah. I mean, I found video games to be in some ways harder work, but I really enjoyed it. I think what I found satisfying is you get no sense of what it's going to look like at all in a video game. And then you see it and you're like, wow.
Yep.
Because it's just a green screen in a suit. You get a little bit of a sense of what something's going to look like in film and television. They don't pay us properly. I mean, I'll just say it. They just, considering how much money they make, and this is something for unions to talk about. I don't understand why they can't just pay us what they paid us. If you get an actor there on a scale salary, they're going to get to pay the $900 a day for 8 days, and that video game's going to make $200 million. It costs them $50 million to make it. You can't. You're trying to tell us you can't somehow every $50 million just pay that person again what they got paid the first time. They do it in movies. I'm probably going to get in trouble here, but I don't really care because I think that we have, the pay structure is terrible. And the problem is it's like the rest of the industry. You get a big star and they're going to get $50,000 a day or whatever. But it's like anything else. It's the rank and file starter actors, the middle class actors that are not going to get a bump. And those are the people, and this isn't just for video games, but that's for all arguments. Those are the people that we should be raising the bar for. I spent a lot of my time being a scale actor, and you can't live on scale. Yeah, and you got to be able to live on scale, and I especially that, at least in television and film, there's residuals. Those are kind of going away a little bit.
Yeah, now they just give you a buyout, and
Which actually we're better off for in Canada sometimes. When I go to Canada and do a Canadian contract, I will ask for a buyout sometimes because the structure is also different now with Netflix and streaming and stuff.
Oh, the streaming shows is completely different. Yeah.
And if it gets canceled, you don't know what you're going to make. I just noticed these two weird things with the lighting. I don't know what those are. But I just, I like video games, but I think that there's got to be something done about the pay. I mean, I could probably now, it was my first one, so I didn't push it. I mean, because of Khotun, I could probably now go and feel like I was satisfied with what I was getting next time because I could negotiate something. But you shouldn't be getting paid that little money when you're starting out. And I understand, it doesn't necessarily need to be on par with film and television because we're not the main thing in video games. It's the designers and the computer graphics guys and all that kind of stuff. I get that, so maybe to put it on par with television exactly is wrong because, without actors, there is no film and television. Without video games, without actors, video games aren't quite the same.
But the video game industry, Patrick, has surpassed that of like film and everything in terms of consumption.
Absolutely.
And money.
Absolutely, but this also needs to go for the people that work hours and hours and hours writing the code. I mean, I think there's got to be because they're the ones who really created this. I didn't create those incredible landscapes. I didn't spend hours and hours and hours doing that. So maybe actors are getting a little bit greedy because we're used to getting residuals. But I think I just hope, I don't know what people who create the video games get paid. I hope they get paid better. I just know that for actors, to come in and do a scale thing and get $2,000 or $1,500 for 2 days work on something that's going to make $300 million and that's it. To me, doesn't seem fair.
Especially when something's like, go ahead, Ramon.
Sorry. No, I just want to jump in too, because I know some people might be thinking this. $2,500 for 2 days work sounds like a lot.
Yes.
But I just want to, and see, I'm the scale actor that Patrick is talking about. So for those of you who are saying, well, wait a minute, $2,500 for 2 days work, like that's a lot of money. It's a lot of money. However, scale actor right here. So I did a show. I did a Hallmark show a couple years ago, and I had 6 days on it, and I made $11,000. That was great. The next job that I booked, I worked before summer 2018, I think. The next job I booked was in the fall. Like it was right close to winter. It was like, I think it was November or something like that. I booked, so like, even though I made $11,000 for 6 days working, it was great. I didn't work again for months. So like,
exactly.
Yeah, so like per job, it sounds like a lot, but we don't work as frequently. So you're trying to stretch, a lot of money over the course of a lot of time, and it becomes
that's a very good point because I've been there. I mean, I didn't make a living at this for 10 years when I started. I had years of 10 grand a year. And Ramon's exactly right. You don't know how long you have to make that $2,000 stretch. Plus, you got to give a cut, which I'm fine to agents and managers, and so that $2,000, you're taking home 14,
15. Yep.
And you have no idea how long that needs to hold sometimes.
Yeah.
So,
Colt Eastwood had a question. He said, "Patrick, do you have to be in a union for these voice acting gigs?" And
you should be. I think you should always be in the union. I think unions make us stronger. You don't need to start. I kind of get it. I mean, I think that's part of the problem is they started out as sort of quasi non-union. There's a couple of parts of our industry that are not non-union, but they're not signatory, so we can do them. It's sort of a gray area. I think if you're going to be an actor, you should be part of the union as soon as you can, because the more of us that are part of the union, the more power we have.
Yeah, oh my God, yes.
And it lowers the bar. But to get started, I get it. I completely get it. You don't have to be to start, and experience is experience. At some point, I think you need to have your eye on joining the unions. Whether that's as a crew member or as an actor or whatever, because I think that's where we have real power.
And there's a difference between there's a very, very big difference between unions in the arts and unions at, say, like a regular job.
Yeah.
Because with you'd be hard pressed to find an actor who doesn't want to give their 110% no matter what. But unions
not that hard pressed. If it's too early, that's me. No, I'm kidding.
But what happens is, okay, I'll give an example. I several years back, I booked a video game, and I'm not going to say what it was from, several years back. And they kept pushing it. It was a non-union job. And I was, I kind of was pushing it because I was in the union at the time, and you're not supposed to take non-union work when you're in the union. But I was like, it was, it's been tough to get my foot in the door. So I took it, and it was a popular video game. And then they kept pushing the date back, pushing the date back, pushing the date back for when I was supposed to record. And I was booked to sign books at a Comic-Con in Florida. So they pushed it back like over the course of 4 months, and literally decided to record on one of the days when I was out of the country signing. And so they were like, oh, we're going to go with someone else. Now, what happened was they had me reserved for that time, and I can't take other work. So if there was a conflict in schedule, I can't take other work because now it's going to conflict. And then when they pushed it back and then canceled me, not only did I miss that job, but any other job that I might have booked because I was, I was booked. So unions prevent that from happening because they're like, okay, well, you had him booked for this. He couldn't take other work. You need to pay him.
Yeah. And agents help with that as well.
Yeah.
I do understand though that the industry has changed. And this is a little controversial because not all my fellow union actor friends agree, but especially Vancouver, I don't have an issue with saying you're allowed to do a couple of non-union jobs a year. I think we need to deal with reality.
Yeah.
We can't expect people to lose. There is a lot there. And I think the way to get rid of non-union work is to make everyone union, but you can't make them do it right away.
Yeah.
So one of the pros I had is, be part of UBCP, join ACTRA, but you know what? You get 2 a year, up to a maximum of 7, and then you need to make a decision so people can ease back into it. Because they can. I get it. I didn't come out of theater school and start making a living. It took 10 years. I mean, I understand what it's like to just want to get a job, and I think sometimes I try not to lose sight of that, not that I'm doing all that shit hot, but I'm doing okay now. But I always remember where I came from, which is, Thug 3 or Cop 4.
Exactly. USO Vinny said he thinks that residuals should be given for at least the first year after the product hits the market. What do you feel about that?
I think it should be a dollar amount because the first year they can then decide not to sell it for a year. I just think, how about every $50 million gross, you give us what you paid us again, up to 100 million, and then after that, every 100 million. So if it makes $200 million, you got to pay someone their salary 4 times. Not that much.
And there's not a lot of actors involved in a video game. It's not like casting a movie. You're only going to have like a very, very small number of actors.
Yeah.
And half the time they're doing multiple characters anyway.
Yeah. Like I said, I'm hoping
true.
also that they're paying, compensating because those are the real heroes, are the ones that design, the worlds and design the movements. And I mean, I can't do any of that stuff, so hopefully I don't know what that pay structure is, so I can't really comment on it, but I think they should be included in that as well.
The structure is similar, Patrick, into the film industry in terms of tiered pay.
Right.
The guys, the guys that don't have the celebrity positions in building video games, they do okay, but they're in a grind that's very similar. They have to be available to pack up and move to different locations where the work is.
Right.
So their work is every bit kind of the same grind as ours. It's very similar.
But I like the suggestion. What was his name again? Who with the question?
I believe his name was
or her name.
And
USO Vinny.
Yeah, Vinny. I appreciate the suggestion. I just think it should be based on, if it's based on time, they could just delay the game. So maybe it's a year after release. I just think it's easier to sort of say dollar amounts, gross dollar amounts. You get a certain amount back, or you just pay scale higher up front, which I think should be across the board for the entire industry and every aspect of it. But that's just me.
Well, what would you say to like an aspiring voice actor, somebody who's just getting into the game? What kind of advice would you give them?
Take every job you can, learn, be happy about it. I don't want to sound like I'm complaining about it because, like Ramon said, $800 is nothing to sneeze at. It's just, you got to put it in context of how often you're going to work. Ask questions. There are no stupid questions. I mean, I've literally had jobs where I have never done this before, so someone help me. I've done television shows. I did a Fuller House where I said, I've never done multicam. So tell me how to do this. I think I mean, video games and animation are different. I think video games, you need to be as real as you possibly can. I don't do a lot of animation where it's, and I really respect people that have voices, because I don't do a lot of that. To me, it's ultimately all still based in truth and reality, you know. So just do good acting.
That's good advice.
That's what I can say. So
Hargeet says that he thinks game devs usually get bonuses based on how well the game does. Maybe that needs to apply here. I'm thinking about indie games that also use actors where it could get too expensive.
Absolutely, I think there should be bonuses for everybody involved. I mean, I honestly, you know, you just look at how much money they're making on those games. And you're like, okay, well, they paid this actor X amount, and they made $500 million.
Yeah, I thought,
really?
I thought a lot of that money that, you know, to make the game was going to the actors. I thought,
no.
I thought they were making, you know, a pretty good penny anyway.
It's going to some of the actors.
Yeah.
I'm talking about the day players. It's not going to them.
Giancarlo Esposito made a lot in Far Cry. Sorry to cut you off, Patrick.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean,
He's
it's
the one
going
that
to
got paid.
some. And you know, and that's another aspect that's on the actors. You know, when you're demanding $40,000 or $50,000 a day, you need to have and I don't begrudge that. You know, I couldn't make anywhere near that. If I ever got to that point, you just got to kind of think, well, how's that going to affect everybody else? But then you go, well, they got the money to pay it, you know, so they should be able to pay everybody. But no, it's like in film and television. Yeah, the money's going to a lot of the actors, and it goes in tiers. But the scale actors. No.
Yeah, see, because some of this money they're making is upwards of $200 to $500 million in some of these games. You know, are they
easy?
Not that they're making. The cost of production is $200 to $500 million with some of these bigger games. Yeah, sure, there's a lot of $50 to $100 million games, but there is a lot out there that are at least $200 million to make.
Okay, but that's the same with a movie. A movie costs $1 million
is.
to make. They make $500 million, and they still pay residuals.
And they're making their money back.
They're making their money back.
They're making it all back. Plus, you know, they're getting a lot. So
or just pay, you know, the scale actors up front more. I'm probably getting, you know, so I'm probably going to get in trouble with this, but I don't give a shit.
You're not saying anything specific like how much or
you know, they've just got to, you know, the whole IATSE strike. You know, they got to start freaking treating people properly. Start paying people properly. You know,
that's a big problem.
There's a lot of money in this industry, and everybody bears a certain amount of responsibility, I suppose, because we've fallen into a way that we've decided we're going to work, which 15, 16-hour days. So it doesn't have to be like that. You know, I mean, I didn't want them to go on strike because, you know, it's going to be hard for them and you want to work, but I fully support it. If you know, there's a lot of money in this industry, and you know, and I'm not saying that, you know, it's wrong for studios and producers. Of course they should, but they should also compensate the people that work really hard. And that's people like the crew, the people you never freaking see.
The people
you know, I'm well aware of the fact when I get there at 5 o'clock in the morning, they've been there at 4. And when I leave at 6 at night, they're going to be there till 7.
Well, come on, Patrick, you left your mark on that game. You became seriously one of the best villains in video game history.
Thank you. But all I did was walk around and talk.
Well,
but they built the world. You know, I think.
Yeah, of course.
You know,
I give the developers many kudos over and over, but also the performance actors as well need the kudos as well. And yes, you need to get paid. You know, you need to get paid. So I feel like, you know,
everyone
if you're doing that, if you're doing that sort of work and you're leaving your mark and people are emotionally invested in your performance, that means a lot.
Well, thank you. I also need to get paid so I can go get these taken care of, whatever the hell these are. These little pockets of like, they're bad lighting.
It's your Khotun Khan smile.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah. I haven't shaved. It's hard to shave the left hand, so I haven't shaved since I did the surgery Tuesday.
Speaking of Khotun Khan.
Not to cut you off, Fonz.
Go ahead.
I think you missed a couple super chats.
Yeah. I was going to get to those now. Speaking of Khotun Khan, Risk It for the Biscuit asks, how much combat training did you have to throw off of that bridge? How was your back afterwards? Sorry, I was so heavy. I swear it was horrible.
You know what? Lucky.
That's funny.
I went to theater school, and we took fencing throughout the. You know, it was 20 years ago. We took it all through the 3 years, so I've done some of it. So I had a sense of it. We didn't do that fight. We sort of set it up a little bit where really I just grabbed him and then did this motion and they did the rest. You know, that's the computer guys, you know.
Cool.
I just had to start it. But luckily I did have a little bit of, there were people there that, you know, to get us a step properly. I think there was combat people there, because especially for Daisuke and everyone, you know, playing samurais, there's a particular way that they move. I had a little bit more freedom that, you know, I didn't have any kind of particular, I didn't have to look like I knew what to do with a sword. It said look like a badass mofo. But even then you want to make sure to just look cool, if nothing else. I mean, you know, this is your little, the one I worried most about was that first one when I started on fire and then cut the head off. I'm like, I want that to look like I've done this, you know. Does that look cool?
It did. It looked cool, all right.
You sold it.
He just looked a little chilly to me, so I thought he needed to get warm. I don't know why people are so pissed off about that. I'm like, dude, you're a little chilly. Why don't I just set you on fire? I set a lot of people on fire.
Yeah, you did.
And Fedor, poor Fedor, it was twice. He was like the set on fire guy. He was the guy at the castle too. I'm like,
that's funny.
Yeah, it was Adachi. That's why we were joking that we want to make an Adachi Hibachi.
Yeah.
The character in the first was Adachi, so we're like, we want to market an Adachi Hibachi.
Hibachi.
But poor Feo, he was I set him on fire a lot. He just seemed cold.
This Bright Tundra 1 says, in a perfect world, what role would you love to play or have created to play? Do you have a dream role?
Ramon,
and this is for both of
one?
you. Patrick, you can start.
No, Ramon, I have to think about this. Do you have one?
Ramon, you got a dream role?
Dream role. I would have to say, I probably have two dream roles. One is, honestly, I don't know. I'd love to do like a you know, any kind of have the lead role in like an epic, any type of epic fantasy, or honestly lead role in almost anything. Blade was my dream for a while, but they're rebooting that and they decided to go with someone else, and that's fine, whatever.
Yeah, whatever. Ramon was waiting.
Yeah. I was waiting. They didn't call me. So the other one is, and this is a tad narcissistic, but my pie in the sky is to actually get my one of my series adapted to film, and then be either the lead or one of the leads in it, and just kind of like double dip that whole thing.
You can do that. It's amazing you wrote the books at all. You know, you'll have if they want it, you'll have the power. You're gonna. That will.
I vote for
happen.
these. I vote for the Saga of Ruination to be made into a movie. Seriously, so it's amazing.
I may come calling for a job. So.
Dude, you already know.
I played Khotun, if that helps. I could probably, you know.
Yeah.
So that's amazing.
He's played a lot of sheriffs. A lot of sheriffs.
Yeah, there's got to be sheriffs somewhere in that space fantasy world of yours.
Yep. Gaz says, "Yo, Patrick, you are certified gangsta. What is your favorite sauce?"
Thanks. I'm going to answer the. Hold on. I'm going to answer. Well, okay. I don't know what you mean by sauce, but I will say when I go to McDonald's, I get the hot mustard sauce for the nuggets.
There you go, hot mustard. Now your dream roll.
I'm not a big barbecue sauce fan, except the top round roast beef barbecue sauce in Los Angeles is badass because it's sweet. Dream role. I don't know if I have a dream role necessarily, but my dream is to do Broadway, and I'd like to play like a romantic lead or a dad or something. You know, start.
Oh, okay.
Or you know, be like number 3 in a series where you're the head of the CIA or something like that. But specifically, I've always wanted to play Banquo in the Scottish play. Mainly because it's an interesting character, and you're basically dead after the first act. So you just go to the bar for the second act. Make sure you get back in time for the curtain call. But you know, in terms of dreams, my dream is to do Broadway and to do some Shakespeare somewhere. And then I'd like to play somebody who is like just a romantic lead or a dad, or just, for lack of a better term for me, a regular guy. Because I played, you know, Thug 1 and cops and bad guys and all the stuff that I wasn't really right for, playing bad guys when I was young because I was heavier in the way I looked, you know. So for me to move away from that was really satisfying as an actor. And I think Sideways helped me do that, where I started to finally play something that wasn't just a badass mofo. You know, it took me like 12 characters to write a character name. I used to call myself Frank all the time, even when I was like Cop 3. I'd be like, my mind is Frank. My character's name is Frank.
Frank.
Yeah. So that's my dream, and my favorite sauce is hot mustard for McDonald's nuggets.
Hargeet had an interesting question for you guys. Do you feel that video game acting isn't treated the same as movies and TV regarding prestige, awards, all that? Should it be? I mean, You think that it's not as looked at as glamorous, I guess, or
I think it started. Sorry,
getting
Ron.
there, yeah.
Yeah, it's
No, no,
getting
no,
there.
no, go ahead.
Yeah, it's getting there. I think
getting
because so
there.
many big stars are doing it. I didn't realize
Yeah.
BAFTA had a video game awards. Which is like the BAFTA is the British equivalent of the Oscars. Have video game awards. I think it's getting there because I think those distinctions of film, television, video games are all melding into one anyway.
Yeah.
I mean, there are Netflix movies that are just shown on Netflix that are considered films in terms of the Oscars. So I think all of those categories and all of those, what's the term? I can't. Anyway, like even defining them has all gone anyway.
Because you mentioned BAFTA. Khotun Khan was actually nominated for a BAFTA.
Yes, I was. As was Daisuke.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a damn COVID. I could have gone to London. Really, honestly, the only reason I wanted to win is they would have flown me to London to present the next year. That was really what I wanted.
That would have been awesome.
You should have gotten it by.
Thank you.
Yeah, you should have gotten it.
The guy who got it, he did like 7 voices, so I was just happy to be nominated.
7 voices. Well, you did one phenomenally, man.
Yeah.
Thank
Just
you.
phenomenal.
Oh yeah. Just
But-
it was.
Yeah, but yeah, Ramon, do you think it's getting to the same level? I mean, I haven't been a band for a long time, but they do a lot of that stuff up there, don't they?
Yeah, as a matter of fact, I don't know if do you know Lori and Chris Olsen? They do a lot of stunts. You might know them
I
on
think
Facebook.
so. Probably.
Yeah, well, they got lucky because there's I don't know if you're familiar, Spider-Man Miles Morales for PlayStation. Well, they needed a male and female stunt performers that lived together because of the because of the COVID restrictions, and it just so happened they're husband and wife, and they both do stunts.
That's
so
cool.
they actually so they did a lot of the stunts for Miles Morales, and EA obviously is up here, and there's some other stuff. So there's stuff up here. I don't know how much of it is like in the performance capture range. A lot of the auditions I get are cartoons, animation.
Right.
I did book I booked a video game with Ubisoft, so that's I'm waiting.
Have you done it yet?
Not yet. It's
Oh,
end of
you
the year.
You get to go to Montreal?
No, it's gonna be. I think it's gonna be here.
Oh, it's still great. I love Ubisoft. They treat you really well. They pay better in Canada for video games because it's got the buyout. So ironically, the one place where the pay isn't terrible is because the one we used to bitch about the buyout all the time.
Yeah.
But the one great thing about it is Netflix, video games, all were considered the same medium. So there's buyouts on video games as well.
Oh wow, that's great.
I think a lot of where it will get to be the same level is the more it's being done. It's when it becomes a bigger part of what the industry is. Like I said, it's all melding.
Yeah.
You're doing performance capture. I mean, all of Planet of the Apes was performance capture. That's basically what we did, was what Gollum did. That all started there in Lord of the Rings. That's all performance capture.
Yeah.
I'll tell you this too. I went to National Theatre School of Canada in 1990, and they teach a course on performance capture now.
Oh, really?
So arguably the best theater school in Canada is now preparing their actors to do that because it's going to be a bigger and bigger part of our industry. Like you said, video games have surpassed film and television in terms of revenue and what people want, and it's all getting mixed together now. I mean, you can watch the Ghost of Tsushima stuff, and it's like a movie if you just watch the cutscenes.
It really is.
Yeah. It is.
And there's going to be a time when it's all of that, and will it be live, and how much of it's going to be video game where you're coming in and people can control what they come on their network television, and how much where can they control the narrative, and I just think that it's all just going to become media. And like I said, the unions and the workers and everyone needs to be prepared for that change when it comes because we've been behind the curve a lot.
Yeah, they need to get on that.
Yeah,
they really
that's for sure. Risk It for the Biscuit has a question, Patrick. He says, can you in character order a Big Mac for us? Wow.
I wish I would.
You can tell me to shut up.
I would, except that I ate too much junk food since the surgery. But I did order a Big Mac the other day. I'm more of a quarter pounder with cheese guy, but I would like to order a Big Mac. It wouldn't get here by the time we were done this anyway. So
Khotun ordered his.
Do they really want me? I'll go get something to eat if you want to watch me eat.
Oh, no. I think he just meant in your voice, the Khotun voice. That's what he was talking about, I believe.
Hello, McDonald's. That was French. Hold on a second.
I have one thing to say to you, Jin. Give me a Big Mac or surrender.
There you go. There it is. Perfect. There you go,
was
Risk It.
Your army will be destroyed. Your people will be burned.
Love it.
Unless I get a Big Mac.
There you go.
Then it's all okay.
There you go.
Oh, that's
Love it,
awesome.
man.
Sorry about
Love
the
it.
French-Canadian accent the first time I tried it.
That was awesome.
I want a Big Mac now.
Yeah, sounds good. Sounds good. But yeah, so again, somebody asked a question again earlier about what would you give, advice would you give for somebody starting out? But you answered that earlier. It's, you know, Ramon, do you have anything else to put out there, or
In terms
got any
of
questions or anything? No?
honestly, I would. So, is it still? So we know that it's been slower in LA. It's been busier up here, but they're still casting mostly out of LA still, or are you starting?
I
to
think it's
see-
gotten busy here now. My understanding is that when it was so busy in Vancouver, it's because a lot of the LA shows went up there, and then it got slow in Vancouver. Now it's crazy busy here.
Okay.
I mean,
Is
it's
it-
busy in New Mexico.
Yeah, New Mexico.
I think they're still casting out of here. I think that they can cast out anywhere now. And that's sort of the one advantage, I guess, of self-taping.
That's been a blessing and a curse for me.
It has. I mean, I don't really feel like driving throughout. I mean, there were, those days of 100 miles in your car in one day. I'll never forget those on pilot season. But, there's something to be said about going into a room. But man, oh man, you go and do audition, there's 3 hours gone, which I kind of miss because there's not a hell of a lot else to do. That's why I started riding my bike so much. I mean, I bike 100 miles a week now when I'm not injured, just because I got nothing else to do. I don't think people need to come down here personally. I mean, you maybe if you're young. I know friends that have series out of Vancouver. I mean, you can they shoot out of Vancouver. People would be amazed how much stuff they watch that isn't shot in Los Angeles. It's whether it's North Carolina or Arizona or New Mexico or Louisiana or Toronto or Montreal or Vancouver.
Yeah.
I think especially now, that's just my personal opinion. Someone like me, I came down at 36. I probably wouldn't come down permanently again.
No,
I think maybe you come down, but who are you going to meet?
Yeah.
And it's COVID. I think it's not a bad idea to come and try to meet as many people as you can, so when they see a tape, they know who you are. But unless you're a young ingenue, I like I said, I think you can get almost any job. Not almost any job. The opportunities aren't going to be there in every city, but once the opportunity is there, I don't think they care where you are. I personally don't think they're going, wow, Ramon is really great, but we're not going to hire him because he's in Vancouver. And they don't say stuff like that. They just don't. So.
Yeah, the indie gamer wants to know if you guys have done any voiceover work at home, or is it like in the studio, or?
Ramon looks like he's got a pretty good setup right there. I'm
Well,
using these stupid things.
My this is new and a lot more rudimentary than it looks. I'll answer first because my question would probably be shorter than yours, Patrick. But I've done a few things in the studio, and I actually had a blast. The first actual credit was a cartoon that we're still waiting for it to come out, and I was the only film actor there. Everybody else were all voice actors. It is a different side of the same skill. And it's hard to describe that until you get into a booth as a film actor with voice actors.
Yeah.
It's the way they project, the way they create the voice and the characters. It is a different skill, and it's amazing. And it was a lot of fun. And then the other one, most actors hate. I love it, probably because I love voiceover so much. But there's a thing called ADR, or looping as slang. And it's basically...
I hate looping.
Yeah. Most people hate looping. I like it because
it's hard to do.
It's timing, right? It's timing. So basically, when you're on a set, for all of you guys, when you're on a set and then and then you have the sound guy who has a boom that's like right over your head, but he's just out of frame, so you can't see it in the movie. And then you also have a mic. But if the sound, for whatever reason, gets messed up, then they have to call the actor to go into a booth and record that scene just audio. And the reason why most actors hate it is because you have to watch yourself saying it, and you have to say those exact words, and you have to time it perfectly with your own mouth. And it's hard to do because you're trying to time yourself. And if you've ever watched a movie or a show and it looked like the person said something but it was slightly off, and you're like, it seemed like it was off. Oh yeah, whatever. That person was in the booth trying to time it with themselves.
And you have to, you don't have as much freedom because you can't,
Yep.
you know, every take you do as an actor is different because you're just going with the vibe. You don't,
Exactly.
you know, I don't sit there and say, I'm going to say it like this. And so you've got to try to repeat the same thing all the time.
Yep.
But it is matching with with your mouth movements. I don't like. Every once in a while, I shouldn't say I hate it. It's just hard to time. Every once in a while, I really
It's
appreciate
difficult,
being able to sort of fix something where I'll listen to it and go, you know what? I think my intention I think I should have attacked more here. And a couple of times I'll actually change the way I read the line. When you get a chance to do it that way. You'd be amazed how much of it Master Commander, I think, was almost everything. What I heard, I'm not 100% sure about this, but I think 50% of what was in the ship had to be ADR'd. So those poor guys all had to come in and do pages and pages and pages and repeat the performances because you could hear the gimbal moving. To answer the question, I do every audition in my apartment. I don't have the setup to do it at home, and I'd rather go to a studio. I'm kind of jealous from because I've never done the multi-actor recording before. You know, which I would love to do. It's always just been in by yourself where I'm reading my part.
Yeah.
And then somebody else comes in separate. You know, I've heard about those, and I would love to just do one of those because I would like to. Because you're right, it is a real skill that I really respect.
Yeah.
You know, there's a certain way that it is like everything else. There's a technique to film acting. There's a technique to theater acting. There's a technique to voice acting. There's a technique to video game acting, and I want to be able to see that technique up front because I can't do it that well. But yeah, I whenever they ask, I don't have this set up. I have friends who have studios in their house. I'd rather go to a booth and have somebody there. So I don't want to do the technical shit.
Yeah.
And yeah, like I said, the directors and writers are always in your ear, so they can get them from anywhere. So I just did one at Albuquerque where they were in Seattle. And you can sort of see them if it's set up properly. They can see you, and so yeah. I'm supposed to do one today. Actually, I forgot. I'll do it later though.
Well, guys, that unfortunately is pretty much the end of the show. I mean, I'm sitting here listening to you guys talk, and you guys have some amazing information. A lot of people were soaking it up in chat today. Really loved the show. Patrick, they're so happy that you were here today. You as well,
my
Ramon.
pleasure. I'm just going to get a Big Mac now. I just got to go get myself.
He said, I'm going to go get a Big Mac now. But yeah, I'd like to thank my guests, of course. Ramon, as always, my friend, thank you for coming by and let everybody know where they can find you, what you're up to, and where they could get those books, my friend.
Yeah, I want to get those books.
Oh man, yeah. I'll let you know after Patrick, especially since you got an iPad.
I'll buy one, man. I'll buy them.
Oh, I appreciate that. Well,
where can they find you, buddy?
So Ramon Tyrell, I can't even say my own name. Ramon Tyrell on Twitter. I think it's like Ramon_Tyrell on Twitter. And my books under my name, you can find them anywhere online where they sell books, Amazon, Barnes and Noble, and so forth, paperback and hardcover. My latest book, Emergence, just came out, I think it was like a couple of months ago. And yeah, so just pick up Unleashed if you haven't. If you like Wheel of Time and Stormlight Archive, stuff like that, then it'll be right up your alley. As far as the acting side, I just finished a Hallmark, just a couple of days on a Hallmark Christmas. Obviously, it's all Christmas. And yeah, I can't say what the Ubisoft game is, but it's the third one. It's the third one. So apparently it's been pretty popular. I think it's primarily PC, and I'm looking forward to that. And I missed the role on the Last of Us show by about that much.
Really?
I came really close at an audition for Last of Us show, and I came within a hair of it and didn't get it. So I was kind of choked about that, but
you'll get the next one.
Yeah,
you know who you are now.
Yeah, hopefully so. And yep, that's about it for me.
Patrick, Thank you for joining
problem.
us today, man. It's been amazing to have you here. Seriously, and I'm honored to have you here on Games Talk Live. Let
my
everyone
pleasure.
know where they could follow you or what you're up to, what you got going on out there.
I think Twitter, it's at Patrick G-Man, capital P, capital G. And then my Instagram is I am Patrick Gallagher, all lowercase. Right now, I'm just luckily recurring on Big Sky. So I got a couple more episodes at least of that coming out. So watch that on ABC, 10/9 Central, and Hulu afterwards on Thursdays now. And then a show called Joe Pickett, which is the one I did in Calgary, comes out on Spectrum in November. Blue Eye Samurai will be in Netflix. I got some stuff going on there.
Nice.
I'm in Guild Wars 2. I think I'm allowed to say that. If I'm not, well, what are they going to do?
Yeah.
Which was a really fun, that whole aspect of like that ongoing world stuff fascinates me too.
Oh man. Yeah.
And I've got an animation movie that I just got a while ago that I'm going to record finally, but I can't say what that is. But I'm really happy.
Okay.
Animation movies are hard to get.
Yes.
And just be nice to each other.
Nice.
Tip people properly.
Yep. I agree with all that.
Just don't be an asshole unless it's called for. Every once in a while it's called for, but don't be an asshole. That's all I would say. I should get a shirt that says "Don't be an asshole."
I like it. And with that said, that'll wrap up the show today, guys. Until next time, game on.